Hello everyone, so today we are going to do Leetcode daily challenge, Transpose matrix. So in this question we are basically given with one matrix and we are required to transpose that. So before going ahead with the question, let us see that what does transpose means. As per the observation, even like in our junior classes when we had done transposition, then our plus 1 and plus 2 and that, what we had done, we were having some requirements and those were that the matrix should be n into n, right? And transpose simply means that we are required to take the diagonal and we need to flip the elements across diagonal. So that is what the transpose exactly means. But here in this Leetcode question, we are not given with this n cross n, but we are given with n into m matrix. So in that context, we are required to modify our approach of doing this particular question. Although the algorithm would remain the same, that is, we are required to swap the row with the column. And that also across the diagonal. But we would be requiring extra space for the same because it is n cross m. If it would have been this n cross n only, then it could have been done space complexity order of 1 only. But when it is this one, so yeah, we are required to have space complexity n into m. Else we won't be able to do this question. So let us see constraints for this particular question. So constraints of the question are simply that m into n could be till 1000. So even our time complexity is m into n. That is 10 raised to power 3 plus 3 means 10 raised to power 6. So we can use this order of n time complexity solution here, where n is simply n into m. And then m into n, yeah, that is the thing. They are already given. And the elements which are there, it could be 10 raised to 9, but so 10 raised to 9, right? So it could be in the only, right? So that's the thing which we are doing here. Now comes the part that we are not much concerned about the elements. We are only concerned about swapping all of them, right? And using one extra space to do this particular question. So this was all which I just explained you, that what the transpose in actual is, and usually it is n cross n, but here we are using this m into n, right? So that's why to accommodate that we are required to use n cross m dimension extra space. Okay, now let us see how we are required to do it, basically the algorithmic part. So as we are our requirement is something like this, that we are required to transpose, that is swap across the diagonals, right? So how it would be? Because we require one extra space, so we would be using something like this, means vector int answer, and m is here the count of rows and n is here the count of the columns. So for columns we are using this n, right? And we are having a vector. Actually the vector as far input vector, a vector is simply 2 cross 3, then our answer would be simply as 3 cross 2. So this we are ensuring by simply swapping the length of the vectors being used inside. So then we would be using nested loops, just traverse input vector, and then we would be simply assigning j of I equals to matrix of ij, right? We will be doing something like this. It is directly assigning of those elements across the diagonal, because it's simple that if we are using something like this, means this is 0 1 0 1, right? So this particular position is 0 comma 0, this particular position is 1 comma 0, and this particular position is 0 comma 1, and this particular position is 1 comma 0. So diagonally these are swapped. This one remains at this position only, it swaps with itself. So like this our whole matrix would be transposed. So this is all for this particular question, and the time complexity of this question is simply order of n cross m, and the space complexity, as we are obliged to use extra space, so it is n into m. So now let me walk you through the coding part of this question. Actually, before trying this question, means basically come to the final answer, I tried various methods for this particular. Means I have earlier tried for this particular method, which is a naive approach for transposing a matrix, but it only works with n cross n. But this is n cross m, so this particular method won't work. Now comes the next part, means optimizing that particular approach without using any matrix, extra matrix. But the thing is that as it is n into m, not n into n, so that's the reason we can't use this method also. Because, but yeah, we can't use it because we are required to use some temporary. But now, yeah, here I hadn't used a temporary, right? Earlier I was using, so just copy pasted here only, where we were swapping in place only, swapping the matrix with the matrix. But after modifying this particular by simply changing this matrix dot size to this, basically I have swapped these two. Means need a matrix of, rather than n cross m, I made it m cross n, which I have done here. So after making the matrix something like that, here you can see that columns are taken here, rows are taken here, and then I am using that as it is here. So after doing this particular thing, I got my answer. Else earlier it was not giving the final answer because there was dimension mismatch in the case when we were having 2 cross 3 and we were required to have 3 cross 2 because we have transpose now. So this was the thing here. And I've also knew about the time complexity and space complexity. Yeah, so this was all. If you have any doubt, you could comment that down. So thank you.